Do you recall a time when air travel was more about the experience than simply reaching your destination? Perhaps not, but believe it or not, there was a time when flying was pure magic, an adventure wrapped in luxury. From the 1920s to the 1950s, air travel wasn't just about reaching your destination, it was about the journey itself. A time when spacious seats, gourmet meals, and impeccable service made every flight feel like a royal affair. This was the golden age of flying, a period that, to this day, remains unmatched in elegance and charm. So, what made air travel so special back then? Join us as we explore 10 remarkable features that made flying during the golden age an experience to remember. Pay close attention. Number 4 might just surprise you. But first, let's kick off with number 10, Spacious Cabins. What's the big deal about spacious cabins, you'd say? Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Back in the golden age of flying, spacious cabins weren't just a perk, they were a hallmark of luxury. You see, they made the journey as much about comfort as the destination. Unlike today's often cramped economy seating, airplanes from the 1920s to the 1950s offered generous legroom and wide aisles that gave passengers room to stretch out and really relax. This was a time when air travel was reserved for the elite, and airlines went above and beyond to ensure an unparalleled experience. Seats were often set up in lounge-like arrangements, with large, plush chairs that could fully recline, resembling more of a living room than a typical aircraft cabin. The Boeing 377 Stratocruiser, for example, was known for its spaciousness, as it offered not only wide seats, but also a lower deck lounge, where passengers could socialize during long flights. Can you imagine how exciting that must have been? Today, though, air travel has mostly traded this kind of comfort for efficiency and profit. Modern cabins cram in as many passengers as possible, which means narrower seats and less legroom, especially in economy. The spacious cabins of the past remind us of an era when flying was truly an extravagant experience rather than the utilitarian means of travel it has become today. Number 9. Gourmet in-flight dining. Forget the tiny snacks in today's airplanes. Passengers back in the golden age of aviation were treated to gourmet feasts that could compete with any high-end restaurant. Gourmet in-flight dining was a standout feature of air travel during this period. It was never about the cost, but about delivering satisfaction. Unlike today's in-flight dining, which has generally become more about convenience and cost efficiency. The 1920s through the 1950s saw airlines go all out with exquisite meals prepared by some of the most renowned chefs in the world. There was even the introduction of a dining car concept on some long-haul flights to allow passengers to enjoy their meals in a dedicated space. Yup, they were that dedicated to the cause. Airlines like Pan Am and Trans World Airlines went to great lengths to ensure their passengers dined in style. They didn't just serve food, they served experiences. Pan Am's Clipper flights, for instance, featured meals crafted by top chefs and served with fine china, crystal, and silverware. Menu options often included multi-course meals, with dishes such as roast beef, lobster, and elaborate desserts, accompanied by premium wines and champagnes. We may not have been there, but one thing's certain, flying was a remarkable affair back then. Now, let's move on to something equally iconic, the flight attendants. Number 8, the glamorous flight attendants. Now, what's luxurious air travel without the flight attendants to add that extra touch? Back then, the role of the flight attendants was as much about style as it was about service. They were more than just cabin crew, they were icons of elegance and sophistication. Carefully selected for their beauty and charm, these women were the epitome of glamour. Pan Am's flight attendants, for instance, were known for their chic blue uniforms with pillbox hats. These uniforms were often designed by renowned fashion houses. Their hairstyles were flawless, their makeup impeccable, and their behavior effortlessly graceful. They were the ultimate professionals that worked hard to meet the needs of passengers with poise and grace. There is no need to say that they set the gold standard for hospitality. But it wasn't just about looks. Beyond their stunning appearance, these women were highly trained experts in etiquette and customer service. Whether they were pouring champagne or offering a warm blanket, they did so with a smile that made you feel like the most important person on board. They were expected to make every flight feel like a first-class experience, no matter where you were seated. Number 7. Onboard lounges and bars. Imagine stepping out of your seat mid-flight to enter a plush, stylish lounge where you could sip a cocktail, enjoy a smoke, or simply relax with fellow travelers. Exactly. Onboard lounges and bars were the height of luxury in the golden age of flying. Back then, travelers could escape the cramped seats we endure today to step into spacious, stylish lounges, often located on the upper decks of planes like the Boeing 377 Stratocruiser or the Lockheed Constellation. These lounges offered plush seats where passengers could soak in the amazing views. The bars were stocked with top-shelf liquors, and the service, absolutely top-notch. It was nothing short of first class, more like a 5-star hotel than an airplane. Sadly, the glory of these airborne lounges began to fade in the 1970s, as airlines shifted gears to prioritize passenger capacity over luxury. Modern aviation economics and stricter safety regulations also contributed to the end of these once iconic amenities. Some might say it was a necessary shift, but it marked the end of an era when flying was truly an experience to savor. Number 6. In-flight entertainment and live performances. If you are a regular flyer, chances are you've probably never been treated to an in-flight performance, just pre-recorded options. But that was the golden age experience. Back then, in-flight entertainment wasn't limited to watching a movie or listening to music through a set of headphones. Airlines took it up several notches by offering live performances on board. Imagine cruising at an altitude of 30,000 feet, and instead of settling for a small screen in front of you, you could enjoy a live jazz band, a piano performance, or even a stand-up comedy act. Now that's impressive. This unique characteristic was most famously offered by airlines like American Overseas Airlines and Qantas, which had dedicated spaces for live performances on their long-distance flights. The performers were often top-tier musicians, singers, and entertainers that provided passengers with an experience similar to a high-class lounge or club rather than the confined atmosphere of modern flights. They were so good that the allure of these performers was more than just a distraction. It was a chance to socialize, unwind, appreciate good music, and make the most of your time in the air. This level of in-flight entertainment made the journey something to look forward to, a far cry from today's focus on efficiency and cost-cutting, where the in-flight experience is often limited to pre-recorded shows and Wi-Fi. Number 5. Personalized services. If there was anything about the golden age of aviation, it was their dedication to treating passengers as esteemed guests rather than simply customers. Personalized service back then was not just a feature, it was the standard. This level of aviation was so remarkable that it set air travel itself miles apart from the standardized, impersonal, and sometimes harsh experience many travelers face today. Since flying was a luxury, airlines treated their passengers with the kind of care you'd expect at a 5-star hotel. From the moment you stepped on board, a team of meticulously trained flight attendants catered to your every need. Whether it was a custom-prepared meal based on your preferences, a glass of champagne poured just the way you liked it, or a blanket arranged to ensure your comfort during a nap, the focus was on making each passenger feel special. Passengers could request meals that weren't on the menu or ask for specific brands of spirits, and their wishes would often be granted. But the exceptional service didn't stop there. Airlines frequently provided personal transport to and from the airport as a way of ensuring a seamless travel experience from start to finish. Today's flying experience, often characterized by self-service kiosks and minimal in-flight interaction, can't hold a candle to the era when flying was all about the personal touch. Number 4. Smoking allowed on planes. It might be hard to believe now, but there was once a time when smoking on planes was not only allowed, but considered part of the luxury experience. Passengers could light up a cigarette, cigar, or pipe right in their seats, in extreme contrast to the smoke-free cabins we know today. This practice was especially prevalent in the 1950s and 60s. Airlines catered to smokers by offering designated smoking sections in their aircraft. These sections were typically situated at the rear of the plane and featured ashtrays built into the armrests and trays. The comfort of being able to smoke at an altitude of 35,000 feet was complemented by the elegant, spacious interiors of the aircraft, which contributed to an overall sense of indulgence. However, as awareness of the health risks associated with smoking grew, and as air travel evolved towards greater safety and comfort for all passengers, smoking bans were gradually introduced. Number 3. Custom boarding stairs and airside boarding. Before the days of crowded jet bridges, custom boarding stairs and airside boarding made air travel feel special, something a bit more glamorous than what we experience today. It was a whole adventure, you know? Back in time, passengers didn't have to push through packed bridges. Instead, they were driven straight to the aircraft on the tarmac, where sleek, custom-designed stairs greeted them. This setup allowed travelers to board and deplane in a way that felt exclusive and personal. Airside boarding also gave passengers a front-row view of the aircraft. Celebrities often waved to fans from the top of these stairs, a scene you'll find in many old photos. The sheer act of walking up those stairs, surrounded by the hum of airport activity, turned boarding into an event, not just a routine. You just had to be there. It's a shame now most of us are funneled through standard jet bridges, missing out on that unique open-air experience. While modern conveniences have boosted efficiency, the charm and personal touch of custom stairs and airside boarding are now fond memories of a time when air travel felt more luxurious and exclusive. Now, for the second to last feature on our list, we have frequent flyer clubs and lounges. Back in the day, frequent flyer clubs and lounges offered a level of luxury and exclusivity that made air travel something to look forward to. Airlines like Pan Am, TWA, and BOAC pulled out all the stops to pamper their most loyal customers. These clubs were not just waiting areas, they were private retreats where members could relax before their flight in style. These lounges were decked out with plush seating, elegant decor, and a full spread of amenities: gourmet food, top-shelf drinks, and personalized service. Members got perks like private check-in, priority boarding, and even personal assistance with their travel plans. Today, while lounges still exist, the exclusivity and tailored service of those early frequent flyer clubs have faded. Modern lounges are often crowded, and many of the special touches that once made them stand out have disappeared. In the past, it was a world of convenience and class that turned the airport into a part of the journey, not just a stopover. Number 1. The advent of jet-age technology. The golden era led to the advent of jet-age technology, a move that flipped air travel on its head. Suddenly, flying wasn't just faster, it was smoother, more comfortable, and glamorous. When jet giants like the Boeing 707 and Douglas DC-8 hit the skies in the late 50s, they marked the dawn of a new age. Long-haul flights became a breeze. Jets soared higher and faster, cutting flight times and making international travel a reality for many. However, these jets were not just about speed, they changed the whole flying experience. Quieter engines meant less noise, less vibration, and more peace in the cabin. Pressurized cabins kept things comfy, even 30,000 feet up, a far cry from the rough and noisy rides of earlier planes. The sleek design and thrill of faster travel made every flight feel like a special event. While today's flights may be efficient, they often miss that magic touch. Back then, boarding a jet wasn't just about reaching your destination. It was about stepping into the future. Sure, we've seen today's tech evolve beyond imagination, but there's no denying the golden days of flying were something else, a truly unrivaled experience. While we can only reminisce on the past, we'd like to know, What features from the golden era would you bring back to today's airlines? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to make sure you don't miss any further memories down the lane.